In a world full of rush, pause for a drink. Pure, clear, and fresh. Let your mind think. In every sip of 1 and 8 alkaline, you'll find a taste so pure, refreshes the mind. With a 9.5 pH, it's balanced just right. Electrolytes to keep you bright. Potassium fuels your everyday, keeps you glowing in every way. Drink water and mind your business until it's time to stand on it. 1 and 8 alkaline, the water that keeps you glowing. Let's glow.
Peace, peace, peace. What it do? What it is? It is Pastor Ben back live with another edition of Wednesday Wisdom. And when we come to you with Wednesday Wisdom, I like to share a little wisdom, or I like to bring on people to share wisdom about some of the things they're doing, or uh, their journeys, or what have you, so that they can share with others. Sometimes we focus on entrepreneurship. Sometimes we just focus on people doing community work, what have you. But it's just a time where we share uh, certain things that's going on, or if it's just a thought that I may have on my heart. But I want to give a shout out to my people on Instagram. I see you, A. Zachary Shepherd. What's going on? Peace, peace, peace. All my people joining on Facebook and YouTube. Shout out to you. As you saw, I sent a reminder. Please like, share, subscribe. Please comment. If you're watching and you got some thoughts, give us an amen or what up or hallelujah. It don't matter. But as always, I like to remind everybody at the bottom of the screen in many ways you can connect with us. So please don't hesitate to reach out with us. Make sure you follow us on IG at the RCB Store, on Facebook, the Resource Center Bookstore, or you can email us at the rcbstore@gmail.com. So a couple things I just want to update before, because I got a great guest coming on. We're going to pop in and talk for a few minutes. But as I put out last Wednesday, in the coming weeks, well, let me start by saying this. Y'all know I am hip hop. Let me put my hip hop hat on. Y'all know I'm hip hop. So in that, we're going to do one for the culture. We're going to do one for hip hop. And in a couple weeks, we're going to have a special guest the first Wednesday in August, which is August 6th. So I want to make sure everybody knows. But you know what? I ain't even gonna say it. I'm gonna just reveal it right now who this special guest is. Pay attention.
Yo, Tech, let's make something happen.
That's right, you see it. Technician, the DJ. Some of you who watched the Versus battles, you might remember he was the DJ for Ghost. When Ghostface Killer and Raekwon the Chef battled, he was the DJ for Fat Joe when Fat Joe battled Ja Rule. And then the infamous, what you heard at the beginning of that clip, and yo, Tech, let's make something happen. He was the DJ for the Locks during their battle with the Dipset. He's also on Rock the Bells Radio, and he does many tours with artists. As you saw in the clip there, he's also been the DJ for Rakim, the God MC. Legendary. So August 6th, you don't want to miss that. Be here for that interview with Technician, the DJ. And shout out to Malcolm Teasdale as well. Boogie Down Bronx in the building. All right. So with that, let's get ready to jump into it. I want to do a little twist because I'm trying to do something for the young folks. You know, I used to think I was a baller back in the day, and I tried it. I put my 10 cents in, and I played a little college ball, but I didn't do it to the level of this next brother that I'm about to bring on. And you know what makes me even more proud is this cat had to get it from the mud, right? This cat had to battle through some stuff. So I'm gonna let him tell his story. But I'm proud of this young man. We share the same last name, which makes me even more proud. Let me get my chest out a little bit. But he's put in the work, and now he's doing something that very few of us can say that we will ever do or have done, and that is to be a professional athlete. So I wanted him to come share his journey, his story, and some of the ins and outs of this trek as he was a first year professional athlete overseas, just to share that so we can share that out to the young up and coming athletes or those who say they want to be professional athletes, just to know the journey. It's not always hunky-dory, it's not always pretty, but it is always a blessing if you can get to that level and be rewarded for the work you put in. So without further ado, let me bring on my guest, Brian Killer B Free. What's up, Killer B?
What's up, man? I appreciate you having me on.
No doubt, man. I'm glad you could do it. I know you just coming. I know y'all trying to stay in shape. You playing in some of these leagues, and some I heard you about to be in a championship over there. So that's good, man. Just be careful, man. Don't let no old man like me fire you too hard.
Yeah, I gotta stay out the lane for sure.
Yeah, stay out the lane. It's old school right there. But man, I'm glad to have you on, and like I said in the intro, man, you're doing something that very few get to say they've done. A handful of people, and that is to be a professional athlete and doing that. So, this past year, let me give them a shout out. And we'll put it up on the screen, right? You played with Basket Santo Andre in Portugal. That in itself, besides the basketball, that's something people might not ever do, is get a chance to go to a foreign country or see Portugal. But getting to that, just talk about your journey to get to this level. From, you can take it to high school, middle school, wherever you want to go with. But talk about your journey in getting to this point with Santo Andre.
For sure. It has been a very long journey. I mean, I can start in middle school, and I won't go into too much detail at that point. But as I go further along, I'll start to kind of give more background as to what's going on and what's happening. But I went to Jamestown Middle, starting off, and I was a big football guy. Tried to stay around the sport of football, but I started getting, people started hitting their growth spurts around that 8th grade year. And, I hadn't hit mine yet. I was still very, very small, very lightweight. So even at Jamestown, I wasn't really, playing a lot. Even though I love football, I wasn't playing that much on there. And I also played basketball there as well. And it was just like my first year, even my last year in Jamestown, it was just always something wrong as far as what was going on with the team. I mean, we had so many players. The coach kept so many guys on the team. We were sharing jerseys, man, trying to get into the game. Somebody come out and you change the jersey out and you run in and you the same player, because we all were in the same jersey.
Yeah.
So that was hard. I mean, we had probably about 23 guys on the roster, and only 7, 8 play. So it was hard in 8th grade, and that's when I kind of decided to focus mainly on basketball. Like I said, football was, them guys were starting to get that weight on them in high school. So I really didn't have it in the cards to keep pursuing that. So I, somebody told me about this trainer in Greensboro named Jimmy Hayes, and I started going to him the summer going into my 8th grade year. And then after that, I've been with Jimmy ever since. We started off training at Hayes Taylor on the weekends, during the week, as many days as possible. And from there, I just saw a constant progression in my work and my skill level, and how I started to pursue the game of basketball from there. So from Jamestown, I immediately went to Ragsdale. Like I said, I didn't play in 8th grade, and then when I got to Ragsdale, I was a starter on the JV against all the other people that were competing with me um, in middle school. So I passed all of them up in that 1 year time of just work, constant work, being in the gym. I mean, there were days when my dad would catch 1,200 shots, 1,400 shots made at the Y. We'd be in there 2 to 3 hours just shooting. But I passed a lot of guys that first year that jumped from 8th to 9th grade, and I was started on JV. I want to say I got like an MVP for the little Christmas tournament that we played in. The JV plays. Well, I think we played at some tournament in Asheville. Man, we were winning or whatever. I think we might have lost in the championships to some team from Australia, but it was just a progression. That coach really took. I really have the utmost respect for that coach my JV year, Coach Blair. One of the first coaches on the high school level that really took me under his wing and really gave me a lot of confidence as far as my game and allowed me to play play freely. So big shout out to Coach Blair. That was my JV experience. Immediately the next year, since I started on JV and I had a great year, I got moved up to varsity, playing with a lot of older guys. We had a lot of seniors that year. And at this time, I'm still small. I'm barely 5 foot tall. So 5 foot tall starting. I started on varsity, went from starting on JV to starting on varsity over all these guys, man, that were with me in middle school. So I'm still passing them up. And I got to play that whole year with a lot of seniors. I got to learn a lot being on the varsity level. We didn't have a great season. It was shaky, but it was a good experience for me. Just having that varsity experience. And then after that, I went to Ragsdale for one more year, and everything flipped on me. I put in the same amount of work I did the whole summer. I was the same player. I got better. The guys on my team also got better, but I still felt like I was ahead of them as far as what was going on. But the coach didn't see it that way. So that next year at Jamestown, I went from being a starting point guard to or at Ragsdale, being a starting point guard my sophomore year to not really playing that much. The next year, my junior year. So I was kind of had a little disagreements with the coach, and I felt like I should be playing a lot more. And I ended up transferring to Piedmont Classical, which was a brand new school. I got to get over there and reclass and kind of grow into my body a little bit more, add that extra weight, get a little more extra height. I was just starting to hit my little growth spurt that I needed. So I got over to Piedmont and was coached by none other than Ken Free, which was, a great experience. That was a throwback because I used to play with him on my AAU teams when I was younger. So I got to play up under my cousin again. So that was just, the best opportunity for me and probably one of the best decisions I made, switching high schools out of there. So I finished my last 2 years at Piedmont Classical. And from here, it was like I had the mindset that I wanted to go and play in college, but I didn't really know what it took. I mean, I was putting in the work and I was playing in these AAU tournaments, playing in front of these Division I coaches, Division II coaches. I mean, I remember I played against CP3 when they had Kobe White and, all these guys that you see go to Duke, Carolina, these top schools. And we're playing in front. I mean, gym is packed with college coaches. I mean, just about every Division I coach in the Southeast region were in attendance in that game. I felt like I played amazing. I think I finished the game with like 23. I think Kobe White had 30. He played great. And still, even after that game, I received no interest, no offers, anything. So it was kind of a struggle because I keep saying I want to play in college, but I'm not understanding the level of difficulty that there is to get to that next level, especially being a very small guard. Now I told you I was 5 foot that sophomore year of high school. I don't think I had grown that much more. I think I was maybe about 5'6" that those last couple of years of high school. And we ended up going down to this tournament when I was at Piedmont Classical at Myrtle Beach. This was the last tournament of my senior year, and I want to say it was the first game down there, and I just so happened to be playing in front of the right coach's eyes at the right moment. One of my last college games ever. I finally got some interest from a Division III school, Pfeiffer University, which is located in Meisenheimer, North Carolina. And that, since that was the only interest I had, I committed, and I thought I was set and getting ready to play for the Pfeiffer Falcons. So I committed, and the next week, the coach calls me and he's like, "Man, I took another job to a school down in Georgia. It's a Division II." And I was kind of upset because I had just committed, and that's the guy that I wanted to play for because he was the only one that took a chance on me. But he ended up over the phone saying that I want to come with them to the Division II, and that was an easy yes for me. I mean, they were able to give me more money, better housing. I still wasn't on the full ride that you get, at those big schools, Division I schools, but it was definitely worth the upgrade going from Division III to Division II. That was just by the grace of God that I got that opportunity, man, to experience and go play for a Division II school. However, right after I committed to that Division II school, I ended up breaking my leg that summer. Broke my tibia playing basketball, man. So that was a hard time for me. I was on the couch for about a month. I broke it in July. College students move in August, so I had a month of just being on the couch and trying to figure out how to walk again and putting pressure on my leg. And that was a very sad time, just trying to tap into something mentally to keep my head off the pain, to keep my head off of being able to go to Division II and playing. I was so excited. My body was in great shape. I was feeling good about going and playing Division II. But it didn't work like that. I had to redshirt my freshman year, and that was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, was breaking my leg. I got to watch all the practices from the sideline. I got to see the offense, how the coach was operating. I got to see how he talked to the players, how the players talked to the coach, because it was just, the college experience is very different for a lot of people, and it is a grind when you're not, sometimes those Division I guys are spoiled a lot. You don't have people coming in rebounding for you, telling you what nutritional snacks to eat. You at Division II and lower, you're on your own. So I would just, as a freshman, I remember I came in first couple weeks, and I was sitting with the team at the lunch table in the caf, and this one guy beside me, he goes up, and they're serving burgers in the caf. He gets 4 cheeseburgers, man, and I'm sitting over here with just one. And I came into college a buck 30, 130 pounds, and this dude got 4 cheeseburgers. I'm looking at him, I'm like, dang. So I'm like, maybe I need to start eating a little bit. So I started to tap into what these other guys are tapping into, man. I'm like, man, I got to start eating. So as a red shirt, we lifted every day. I was eating as much as possible in the calf. I ended up putting on 25 pounds freshman year. You always hear the freshman 15. I put on 25 pounds, man.
Oh, man.
And I was set from there. My body still wasn't, what it needed to be, but it was a very big increase from that freshman year to sophomore year. I came back that sophomore year, man, and wasn't playing a lot. They had a lot of older guys in front of me. I was still learning the ropes, still learning the plays, but I'm still a freshman on the court, so I'm getting time here and there. The season wasn't going really great. And at the end of the season, the coach just let the freshmen go. He started, I think, we were like 9-13 or something crazy. Like we were losing a whole lot. And our final record was like 9-18, but at this point we had only won. I think we were maybe like 4-13 or something like that. And the coach just let the freshmen have it. He started the freshmen. I think we left 2 seniors on the floor, and everybody else was freshmen. And from then on, those last like 9 games of the season, I started as a sophomore, and we started winning games as freshmen, man. And it was a great experience, just figuring out how to play college basketball. You got shot clock. You got guys are physical, older. We're playing against grown men as opposed to what you're playing against in high school. So that was a big difference for me. and I was hopefully that momentum was going to carry me into the next season, which it did, which happened to be the COVID season, the COVID year. The next year, I was one of the featured players on the team. Me and this one other guy, I ended up averaging.
Well, hold on. Let me get this right. At one point, didn't y'all have like, wasn't it like 3 of y'all on that team that was like top 5 in the conference in scoring or something?
We had 3 on the team that were top 5 in the conference. We were top 5 in scoring on the conference. We had 2 that were top 3 in shooting percentage from the 3-point line in that on that team.
Y'all
we
knew
were
a lot about
very good. Oh yeah, oh yeah. We were very good. To tell you how good we were playing against a team from Florida, Flagler University. We were playing against them at their home place. We're up on them, I think maybe 8 to 10 points with like 2 minutes left. They came back and they ended up beating us by like 1 or 2 points. But that same year, they ended up going to the national championship game. So that just tells you, and our season got ended because of all the COVID stuff that was going on. They canceled our last 2 games to get into the playoffs. So we didn't get a chance to show anybody, what we could do.
Yeah.
So that was really hard. But we were good. We were a good team, great team. And I think if anybody was to go back and look at that team, they would be like, yeah, they would have been a problem in the playoffs. So after that year, we since the COVID happened, there was some stuff that was going on in the background. The players were talking about leaving, getting into the transfer portal. And this is when the transfer portal was becoming a big thing. So you got everybody's hopping in, So I hopped in the transfer portal to kind of see what my options were. And I got picked up by my final school, Northwestern Oklahoma State. And I went and played the last 3 years.
Shout out to Alva,
out there.
Oklahoma.
Alva, Oklahoma, man. Never heard of before. I did not know what was going on when I got that offer. But one thing that really stuck out to me when I was on that visit was just the friendship between the coach and the player. As the coach and as the point guard of the team, you want that to be your closest relationship. And to this point, I hadn't had that relationship for a head coach in college. This guy, I feel like I go to his office any time of the day and talk to him about anything. And that was really what sent it home for me. And I was like, man, I got to commit here. And that was another great decision. I praise God for that, for helping me make that decision. And I was there for 3 years. First year we ended up going to the playoffs and losing in the first round. The second year we had a coaching change and didn't have as good of a season. And then the third year I had a breakout year. I shot over 45% from 3, and I made 94 on the season, 94 threes, which is very good stats. As far as three-point shooter, I was first in the conference in makes, and I want to say like second in percentage. There was some other guy that was shooting out of his mind. But those were good years. Those were great years. Put up great stats, and nobody knows. The year before my last year, I had a really good friend on my team that was a senior. He was the second leading scorer in the nation on a Division II team. And after the season, I always thought about going pro, but I didn't start to really visualize it until those last couple of years at Northwestern. And I'm like, I can really do this thing. And then I got to sit in with him. And after the season, after averaging all those points and being the number 2 scorer in the nation, agents were calling him left and right. And it wasn't a lot of agents. It was maybe 3 to 4. And I got to sit in on those calls and listen. So I'm taking in knowledge. I'm taking in wisdom, listening to this guy talking on the phone and how he's negotiating so that I would have a clear train of thought when it came to me the following year. But this guy signed with an agent, and he's doing his thing overseas as well. And that last year, when the stats came through, I was only averaging 15 a game, and I was shot the ball great, like I said, but I didn't have the type of season that my friend had. So I knew that many agents were going to be just contacting me about, oh, we hope to work with you. We can get you on a team. So I took it into my own hands. After the season, I went to Eurobasket.com. They have a list of about 40 to 50 agencies, and I emailed all of them. I emailed them, hey, hello, my name is Brian Free. I had this season. These are my stats. This is some highlight videos. I would love to work with you as you're my agent, and I sent the email maybe on a Monday, and I didn't hear anything back. And it was like getting Thursday, Friday. I'm like, man, I'm not hearing anything. So I go back to the website and I go down each list, or I go down. My plan was to go back each one I emailed to call everyone, because on that website it has the list of the agents' emails and it has a list of their phone numbers as well. So I went back through it. The first guy I called, he picks up the phone. I asked him, hey, did you get my email? I want to work with you. Hopefully we can do business together. And he tells me that he gets 200 to 300 emails a day. So he did not see my email. He said it's better to call because they're getting, tons of guys. They're getting all guys from all levels, D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO guys that have been done playing college basketball for 2 years are still emailing, trying to get, something. So he doesn't see the email go through, but he goes and he checks out the email. And after doing more research on me and watching more film, he agrees to work with me, and that's how I signed my agency deal. And then from there, his job was to kind of direct and facilitate talking to these teams overseas. And I ended up signing late to a team in Portugal, better known as BSA or Santander. So that is the journey from middle school to pro.
And how much did you average this year for Santo Andre?
I averaged 19 and a half points, but I love to round it to 20. So
yeah, we round up here
20.
So
yeah.
So let me recap. We're gonna get a couple more things, and I ain't gonna hold you your night because I know you're a young fella. Y'all got things to do. You got But I just look at it, and as you said, you were undersized guard, hit your growth spurt late. A lot of people go off the eye test.
Right.
And this is a problem I often see: football, basketball. A lot of guys, or girls, whatever, go off an eye test.
Mm-hmm.
And they might pass up on people that are winners. And one thing I always wanted when I was coaching was somebody that had a winning attitude, that was going to make something happen, that was going to just be a difference maker in the game. I wasn't worried about size or everything. We have those prototypical players we want, but it doesn't work out like that. Right. But if you got a winner, man, you've got a chance. And one thing that you pointed out was your work, how you ended up moving past in that short period of time because of your work past those who were playing over you in middle school or people were drooling over. And right. I look at all those, because I coached you when you were younger too, and I look at all those players and everybody was like, oh, you got to add in, and you just stayed steady the course. And now you're playing professional basketball. So let me transition it just to focus on the young people that might be wondering about this, because one thing you pointed out, like it's not always where people just knocking at your door. Sometimes you got to take the initiative and reach out, which is key, because you can't push your gift and ability, don't just expect it to always be people are going to come. And sometimes people get comfortable because they might be used to that because they were a star in high school, but it doesn't always work out like that. So let me ask this for the young folks. Besides that, what were some key things you learned becoming a professional athlete? Because we talk about just playing and but nobody really understands some of the business that goes on and how you have to be knowledgeable and involved in negotiating, especially when you're dealing with overseas. So just talk about some of the things you learned in that transition to a professional.
Yeah, I say one of the biggest things I learned is that it is a business. It's a money making business. Um, just like everything else is, people want to make money. So being involved with my agent, being involved with these teams is all about money. And if they don't feel that you can help them or help whatever they have going on with their money, then you are not resourceful to them. Um, and it's dirty and grimy, but at the same time, you had to think to yourself, well, what wouldn't I do to get money to provide for my family? What hardships wouldn't I do to try and provide, the things necessary to do what I had to do to survive, just survival. And that was one of the biggest things I learned as far as when I first got over there to Portugal. One of the guys on my team, he was from Portugal, and he just told me, man, do not trust anything that anybody in this business says to you. And looking back at it, he hit the hammer on the nail. I mean, that was he couldn't have said it more perfect. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind closed doors that a lot of people don't understand, and it's you have to be a marketable person over there. You have to be a person that they feel, okay, this guy can not only win, but he can provide this and this. He can, people want to come watch this guy play. You have to do certain things, and one of the another thing that was also big for me was just to be able to give back to the kids in the area. That was one of the biggest things my coaches talked about that I didn't realize, that those people that are overseas or in Europe and Asia, everybody looks to the NBA, and they see Steph Curry and they see LeBron and like, oh, I want to be like that guy. I want to be like that guy. Some of those kids over there, they'll never get to go experience and see LeBron James or Steph Curry. So when you're out there playing, these kids are looking at you like, that's my Steph Curry. I want to be like him. I want to be like him. So taking the time to actually work with these kids, man, and a lot of them didn't even speak English, but one of the biggest things I loved about being in that place was just how the community was just so entangled, and everybody loved everybody, and it was perfect. I mean, those kids looked up to me like I was one of the greatest players that they had ever seen. I mean, when I left, I probably signed about 50 autographs before I left, and they're gonna be like, oh, I know Brian Free, to people in Portugal. They're like, well, who was that? You know what I mean? And even if you come to America, who was Brian Free? But to them in that city over there, I am a legend. And that was one of the coolest parts. Just being able to see the joy on the kids' faces, because we did a lot of community stuff where we would go up to the schools and play basketball with the kids, or just anything, just being centered around the youth, which is really cool, in my opinion. But I would say those two are the biggest things that I learned. And then I'll say don't take anything for granted. Also, and that would be the third thing. I mean, these guys overseas, like I said, it's a business, and unfortunately, if you are not producing the way they thought you would, they will send you home, and that's just the reality, because there's 500 other guys that look just like me, play just like me, do what I do. And if they didn't feel like they don't need you, then they don't need you, and they'll say goodbye to you and they'll send you home. They sent home the other American that was on my team. There's a little bit of other stuff going on as far as what happened in that situation, but they didn't have, they weren't like, oh my gosh, we're going to miss this guy. They were just like, hey, if you want to go home. And that's what happened. So don't take anything for granted. It is a business. It is a job. It is a grind. Just like everybody wakes up some days and, oh man, I want to stay in the bed. I don't want to work today. It's just like that in basketball. But you also have to remember the reason that you're doing it, the reason that you're there for. And just don't take it for granted, because there's not, like you said earlier, there's not a lot of people that can say they play basketball for a living. So
that's right.
That's the biggest thing I can take away from it.
Your Aunt Margaret says hello.
Hello, Aunt Margaret.
Well, that kind of piggyback as we transition. I want to say this. I got a couple more things, but want to ask this. What would you say to a young athlete who might be facing some of those obstacles you met, right? They might not be tall enough, or they might not be fast enough, or they work hard, they put in the work, but not seeing the results right away, or just having those challenges.
Right.
What would you say to them?
First and foremost, you have to stay active. You have to remember your why. Why are you doing this? What do you really want out of this? I mean, there's two paths that you can take. And I've seen it all the time. I've seen guys with the most talent that don't put any work and end up falling off. And I've seen guys with no talent that work their way up. But you have to know what the reason that you're doing it for. Because a lot of times you can get caught up in the process of doing the same things over and over, and it gets repetitive and you start to die out. But it's a lot of sacrifices that has to be made. I mean, there's a lot of
Ooh, I
friends.
like that word.
There's a
Say
lot
that
of
again.
friends.
Say that again.
Sacrifices.
There you go.
Sacrifices,
There
man.
you go.
There's a lot of friends that often want to hang out with me all the time. I mean, I still see people from time to time now, but a lot of them know that the only place that you really are going to find me is in the gym. I mean, when I come home, the first thing my friend texts me, "Hey, you trying to hoop?" I mean, that's the only place I go is to the gym, and that's one of the early sacrifices I had to make. I wasn't, going out with everybody. I wasn't just out hanging out. I was always in the gym. Even in school, like I'll wake up in the morning, go to the gym at 8 a.m., shoot, come back for practice, and then after practice go eat and come back to the gym again. I mean, it was just that was just my mindset, and you had to figure out as a youngin what your goals are, and you need to, if your goal is to make it to your dream and you want to play in the NBA or overseas or whatever, you have to take that goal seriously, because there's a million other kids that have that same goal. But the only one that's going to reach that goal is the person that works like there is no tomorrow. And I would just say, if you're not seeing any progress, you have to keep chipping away. I mean, you just have to keep chipping away. It will show. It will show. If you are putting in the right amount of work, it will show eventually. So that's some advice I give.
Won't lie. The game won't lie. You can't cheat the game. I tried to cheat it and it whooped me. But that's key. Sacrifice. And I don't think we really understand the depth of that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm about to put on my pastoral hat, because when we look at the ultimate, right?
Right.
Sacrifice, right? Those of us that follow Christ, right? We don't really understand what sacrifice means. And I'm gonna put it in this perspective. Anything that is good, or some of the greatest things in life, they come with pain, some suffering. They're tough, right? I look at one of the, and excuse me if I go too far, I just put the Paul's hands up, but I look at like childbirth, one of the greatest gifts to humanity. But that's a tough process, right?
Right.
Like anything we want, because you have to sacrifice. Like that is the ultimate, like to get to what it is you feel your purpose is, right? That willingness to sacrifice. And I don't think we often, I ain't just gonna put it on young people, I don't think we often really understand the true meaning of sacrifice. Like if you really want something, there's going to be something. But at the same time, I treat it just like fasting. I'm not going to say, we also can't look at it totally as something lost, but we have to look at what we're gaining. Right. So if I'm sacrificed, I can't go out. Oh, but I'm closer. I'm moving closer to my dream, my goal. Right. It's just like fasting. I'm not losing something. I'm gaining better clarity, a better relationship with God, a better health. What we have to look at it like that. But it is really a tough thing to do. And it can it separates, right?
Right.
Cream
Sure.
and the crop. What you're willing to sacrifice to get there. So since I put on the pastoral hat, this is how we're gonna end it. I want to know, what is Brian Free's favorite scripture?
Favorite scripture is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the
Okay.
plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for evil, plans to give you a future and a hope. And
Ooh.
I love that verse. I write it on my shoes all the time. I write that one and I write Romans 8:28. But Jeremiah 29:11 has always been solid for me because I always have to remember, even while I'm playing, that God has a plan for me. You know, a lot of people get caught up in comparison and they like to compare, well, this guy's doing this guy's doing that. And I have done that from time to time. Like, man, how did this dude get over here? You know, and you know, what God has for you, it is for you. And that keeps me grounded. Jeremiah 29:11, man. So I always know I can turn to him and ask him, you know, to lead me on the right path. So that is my verse.
That's what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna share one of my favorites because it makes me think of you and sharing your gift, right? And that's First Peter 4:10, where it says, like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, because you're speaking of that grace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received. And I think when you identified your gift, basketball, right?
All right.
You've shared it you're sharing it with the world now, as you spoke to that connection with those kids and the community, and who knows what that autograph will inspire them to do, or seeing you play, or watching your progress as you continue to grow professionally, how it may inspire them. And with your journey and the obstacles you had, it's not the prototypical guard, not the 6'6"
Mm-hmm.
guard from Carolina, not being that dude, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You still made it to where many have not. And it's no shot on them, because there are many that worked hard and just had some bad, happenings, injuries,
Right.
what have you. But it is truly a gift. And I think the grace of God told you, hey, I'm with you. I have a plan. Don't give up. That you utilize to push through. And now look at how it's paying off. And I'm gonna wish you much success, brother. And I know you're doing your thing, but we're gonna bring you back. The time to keep updating, because I really want to use you in your gift of basketball to help these young folks.
Sure.
And eventually we're gonna get that Brian Free basketball camp going.
That's what we need. All right.
God has spoken. I ain't gonna believe the prophecy of Jeremiah right now, but I appreciate it. And I just want to say once again, Brian Free played in Portugal this last season at Basquete Santo Andre in Portugal. If you want to check some highlights and stuff, you can check him out on IG at Killer_B on IG. Check it out. He's got some reels and some clips on there. But Brian, I appreciate you, man. You got any final shout outs before we get out of here?
Shout out my parents. They've been here through thick and thin the whole ride. And just a big shout out to the big man above.
Amen.
Jesus Christ, man, for guiding me here. So
Amen.
And I appreciate you for having me on, man. This is special,
no doubt,
so.
Man. I appreciate you, man. Hey,
Always.
I just want to say to the world, y'all, he gets his athleticism from his mama. He can't give his daddy no props. Did your daddy did he show you the in and out move that he used to have back in the day?
Yeah, he showed me.
He did. Look, we used to call him John Baby Starks back in the day. I can pick on him, y'all. It's my cousin. But anyway, man, I appreciate you, man, and much success in the future. And we're going to keep updating folks on you and sharing your gifts and your clips so that it can inspire other young athletes, man. So peace, my brother. I'm going to try to make it to the champions. When the championship? Monday,
7:30. Yep. 7:30.
We'll try to make the championship to root you on, my brother. But peace out, B. I appreciate you. No doubt. Peace. So I want to appreciate Brian Free for coming on. I hope that can be inspirational to some of the young athletes, those of you watching. Share that with your young children, your nephews, your nieces, your cousins that play sports. It's a long journey. But if you trust and believe and put in the work and the effort, it will happen. So before I get out of here, I just want to remind everybody of August 6th.
Yo, Tech, let's make something happen.
All right, for Wednesday Wisdom, that's a wrap. Remember this Saturday, live from the Resource Center, 8 a.m. So please check us out. I pray you have a blessed evening. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you on Saturday.